Do not swipe past this. Out of everything that will scroll across your screen tonight, this is the only message that was scheduled before you were born. And somewhere in the last month, probably after midnight, you asked the exact question this message was sent to answer. Chosen one, you know the question. You have asked it 100 times, always quietly, always to the ceiling. Why does it work for everyone else and not for me? You remember the last time you asked it. You remember what the silence afterward felt like. Tonight, the silence ends. Hear this exactly as it was given, because I will not soften it. God is doing the impossible right now, in this season, and it is not a repeat performance. He has never done this particular thing before. Not once, not in any generation, not through any name you have ever read about, not in the entire recorded history of his dealings with humanity. And the reason he never did it before is not that the time was wrong or the world was not ready. The reason is that it required a specific instrument that did not exist yet. You. That is not flattery. That is the mechanics of this message, and I am going to prove it to you piece by piece. You have been called chosen before. You have heard that word so many times it has almost gone soft in your hands. But tonight, the word gets sharper, because there are levels to it, and you are about to hear yours. Some are chosen to continue what others started. Some are chosen to repair what others broke, and a very small number, scattered thin across the centuries, are chosen to be the first, the ones through whom God does something that has no precedent, no map, and no earlier example that survived. By the end of this message, you will know exactly why every sign in your life points to that third category, and you will stop reading your strangeness as damage, and understand why this word had to reach you now and not a year ago. A sculptor does not explain the block of marble to the crowd while the form is still rough. One glimpse too early, and every onlooker with an opinion becomes a chisel. There is a stage in every unprecedented work when heaven keeps the scaffolding up and the meaning hidden, not from shame, but from protection. The fact that this explanation is arriving in your life at this exact hour is itself information. Coverings are removed when the form can survive being seen. Yours can now. That is what tonight is. 3 promises before we go deeper, and I will keep all 3. You are going to understand, at the level of mechanism, why every formula that worked beautifully for other people kept slipping through your fingers, and the answer has nothing to do with discipline. You are going to feel the exact moment when generations of unfinished prayers in your family line converge on your name, and I do not use the word feel loosely. And you are going to leave knowing precisely how to prepare the one instrument this unprecedented thing requires, because it does require preparation, and almost nobody is taught it. But you are tired of promises, so let me put something real in your hands right now. That ache you get when you watch someone follow a simple roadmap to a result you have prayed years for. The tightening in your chest when their 10 steps work and your 10 years have not. You have been calling it envy and repenting for it. Stop repenting. It was never envy. It is the friction of an original being dragged across a template that was cut for someone else. A borrowed map does not just fail an original, it chafes it. There is a full name for this mechanism, and it is coming in a few minutes, but even now, notice what just happened. The thing you were ashamed of turned out to be evidence, not of your smallness, of your category. If your chest just unlocked a little, mark it in the record. Type first edition in the comments right now, not as a compliment to yourself, but as a recognition, because tonight, that phrase stops being poetry and becomes your file name. First, step into a scene with me, because I want you to see yourself from the outside for a moment. It is a weeknight, late. The blue light of a screen is on your face. You have 4 tabs open, and every one of them is a map that belongs to somebody else. A morning routine, that changed the life of a stranger. A prayer plan with 1,000 comments saying it works. A step-by-step path that turned someone your age into everything you are asking for. And you are taking notes, again, with that specific heaviness in your hands, because some honest part of you already knows how this ends. You will run their map with more discipline than they ever did, and their map will not read your terrain. You have lived that scene so many times you stopped noticing it was strange. Tonight it becomes Exhibit 1. Now let me show you the signs, because a first edition life has a signature, and you have been living it without the decoder. Watch how many of these are yours. You cannot find your story in other stories. You read biographies, you listen to testimonies, and there is always a point where their road bends one way and yours simply does not exist on their map. Fellowship encourages you, but no testimony has ever fit you all the way down. That is sign 1, and you thought it meant you were doing life wrong. Sign 2. Mentors bless you, and then run out of things to say. Every guide you have ever had, however wise, eventually reached the edge of their own experience with you, looked out at where you are headed, and admitted, kindly or awkwardly, that they had never been there. You collected their endings like small abandonments. They were not abandonments. A cartographer cannot draw coastline he has never sailed. Sign 3. Your timing has never synchronized with your peers. The things that came easily to them arrived late for you or have not arrived yet, while certain other things, depth, discernment, endurance, arrived in you absurdly early, decades before your age group. You have felt permanently out of step with them, yes, on time for something else entirely. Pause on that third sign, because it hides a comfort you have never been given. That early arriving depth in you, the discernment that sees through people in seconds, the endurance that has outlasted things that should have broken you, none of that was accidental over-equipping. Nobody issues deep-sea gear to a swimmer assigned to a pool. The weight of your interior life has been telling you the depth of your assignment all along. You measured yourself against sprinters and wondered why you were built like a diver. Sign 4. The pull will not die. Whatever this calling is, you have tried to put it down, reasoned yourself out of it, buried it under jobs and seasons and sensible decisions, and it keeps resurrecting with your name in its mouth. And sign 5, the strangest one. Lately, the sense of pressure has changed quality. It used to feel like being behind. In recent months, it has started to feel like being summoned. If at least 3 of those 5 are yours, then you are not eavesdropping tonight. You are the addressee. Let me also say plainly who this message is not for, because a word this specific has edges. If your road has a working map, if the standard paths are carrying you well and the testimonies of others fit you like tailored clothes, then be blessed and walk that road with joy. It is a good road, and God is on it too. This message will not harm you, but it was not cut for you. This is for the one the maps keep failing, the one whose guides ran out of coastline. If that is you, stay close now, because everything from here forward is written in your dialect, and the fact that you are still here, this deep in, while the scrollers left in the first minute, is its own confirmation. So, let us open the first revelation properly, because I promised mechanism, not mood. Here is the symptom at full resolution. You are a person of genuine sincerity who has repeatedly executed proven systems and watched them underperform only in your hands. The prayer method that revived your friend went flat for you. The business framework, with 1,000 testimonials, produced a fraction in your care. The routines, the courses, the 7 steps, all of it worked, statistically, visibly, for others, and slid off your life like rain off glass. And after enough repetitions, you did the math, the only way a tired heart can. The systems are proven. I am the variable, therefore I am the defect. Tonight, that arithmetic dies. Here is what is actually happening. Every formula is an artifact of the life that produced it. It encodes that life, that wiring, that assignment, the way a mold encodes the statue it was cast from. Pour a different substance into the mold, especially a rarer one, and the mold does not improve the substance, it deforms it. This is a real pattern you can verify in the natural realm, anywhere you look. The training plan that builds one body injures another. The teaching method that unlocks one child shuts another down. Templates transfer between similar designs. They fail, predictably, and through no fault of the material when the design is unprecedented. We call this the first edition. You are not a reprint that came out blurry. You are an original plate, and original plates are never produced by pressing them into a mold that was carved for someone else. Now take that and walk back through your archive, because this rewrites decades. Every course that did not work on you, every mentor whose map ran out, every proven system that failed only in your hands. You filed all of it under my defectiveness. Refile it tonight under evidence of originality. The formulas did not fail because you were beneath them. They failed because they were beneath the thing being formed in you. A first has no earlier edition to copy from. That is not your handicap. That is the entire point of you. And here is your key for this first revelation. Something to do, not just admire. This week, take out the list of methods that failed you, and instead of asking what is wrong with me, interrogate each one with a better question. What was this formula actually built for? And what does its failure on me reveal about my design? Write down what surfaces. You will be drafting the first page of a manual that has never existed, the operating manual of you, and heaven has been waiting a long time for you to start writing it. Something just landed. I can feel the weight of it from here. If the arithmetic of defectiveness just died in you, bury it publicly. Type "never repeated" in the comments, because understanding is the register of this moment, and what you understand out loud, you keep. Now hold on, because if you are truly athirst, an uncomfortable question follows immediately, and I will not dodge it. Why would God wait this long? Why leave a design this deliberate, sitting in delay for years, while reprints prospered all around it? If that question has teeth for you, good, it should, because the answer is the second revelation, and it involves something that has been actively working against your originality since you were small enough to be shaped by other people's opinions. Before I open that door, position your heart correctly for it. If everything so far has been landing, if you have felt received tonight instead of lectured, then open your hands where you sit and type "I receive the original" in the comments. Reception is the register of this moment. You have spent years bracing. Receiving is the posture this next revelation requires. There is a mechanism, and it has been running in the background of your life for decades, and once I name it, you will recognize every fingerprint it left. But to name it properly, I first need to tell you about something discovered far from any pulpit. Over these last years, in research settings in New York, a small team studying the original design of the human mind confirmed something that explains a feeling. Spiritually sensitive people have carried all their lives without a name for it. It reaches back to one of the most decorated findings of the last century, and it is so simple in application that most people wave it away on first hearing. I will unseal it fully later in this message. At the moment it will matter most. Until then, carry this question with both hands. What if the reason the unprecedented thing has not started is not the calendar and not your worthiness, but the tuning of the instrument it must be played on? And what if that tuning was altered, quietly, years before you were old enough to object? Keep that question in your hands, and let me now name the thing that has been working against your originality since before you could spell your own name. Because a first edition is never simply issued into the world. It is issued into a world that has no shelf for it, and the world responds to shelfless things in a very specific way. It presses them toward the nearest existing shape. Think honestly about how you were formed. From your earliest years, every system you passed through rewarded you for resembling the average and corrected you for deviating from it. The classroom graded the answer it expected, not the one you actually saw. The crowd embraced you fastest on the days you sounded most like everyone. Even well-meaning spiritual rooms handed you their one map and implied that doubting its fit was doubting God. None of these systems were built by villains. They were built for reprints, because reprints are what systems know how to process. And so, year by year, a quiet training settled into you. Being original felt dangerous. Being a copy felt loved. And the training had teachers you never suspected. The cousin who was held up as the standard at every family gathering until you learned to translate yourself into her currency. The teacher who wrote so much potential on the report of a child she never once actually saw. The early boss who rewarded the least original version of you and starved the rest. Not one of them meant harm. Every one of them was passing down the same pressure that had been applied to them. Copies, teaching copies, to make copies. A production line so old that nobody inside it remembers. It is one, so you learned to impersonate. Hear the weight of that word, because it is the exact word. You studied how acceptable people talked and adjusted your voice. You watched which dreams got applause and edited yours. You took the wild, unprecedented thing inside you and taught it to sit quietly in the back of your own life. And here is the mechanical cost that nobody ever showed you. Impersonation is not free. It runs on the same power supply as creation. Every hour of energy spent maintaining the copy is an hour drained from the original, which is why you can be exhausted at the end of days when you produced nothing. You were producing something. You were producing the performance of being someone else, and it is the most expensive thing a human being can manufacture. And see how many rooms of your life the impersonation was running in, because the costume was never just one garment. At work, you flattened your instincts into whatever the org chart could digest, and your best ideas died in drafts because they did not sound like the building. In certain friendships, you have been playing a summarized version of yourself for so long that the real one would frighten everyone, including you. Even in prayer, be honest, there have been years when you brought God the polished template of a petitioner instead of the strange, burning, unprecedented person he actually made, as if he too needed you standardized before he could work with you. Room after room, the same tax. We call this template living. Template living is what happens when an original spends its life running software written for copies, and it explains the entire mystery of your stalled seasons in one stroke. God was not withholding the unprecedented thing from you. The unprecedented thing cannot boot, while the impersonation is using the machine. Now, take template living and read your history through it, because this is where years of self-accusation come off your back. The ventures that died, look closer. Most of them were versions of somebody else's vision that you were performing. The seasons you called laziness, look closer. The original in you was refusing to spend another drop powering the costume, and you experienced that refusal as fatigue. Even some of what you called failure was actually fidelity. Parts of you would not let the impersonation succeed, because succeeding as a copy would have buried the original alive. You were never sabotaging yourself. Something deep in you was protecting the first edition until it could be printed. So here is the key for this revelation, and it is surgical, not vague. This week, identify one template you are still performing, just one. The borrowed tone you use in certain rooms, the inherited definition of success you never actually chose, the version of calling you adopted because it was the only shape your community could bless. Name it on paper, and beside it, Write what the original in you would do in its place. You do not have to burn your life down. Firsts are not launched by explosions. They are launched by one honest substitution at a time. And if you are ready to make the first substitution tonight, put it in the record where your own eyes can find it later. Type "I drop" the template in the comments. Release is the register of this hour. You are not releasing a tool. You are releasing a disguise, and heaven has been waiting years to see your actual face in the field. Breathe here for a moment. We have moved fast and deep, and a message like this must not become another performance you endure. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, let the chair hold you. There is no template for how you are supposed to feel right now, which is fitting, all things considered. While we rest, let me tell you something small and true. There is an old craft among violin makers. When a master luthier finishes an instrument unlike any he has built before, he does not hand it to a student who learned on factory violins, and he does not tune it by the chart on the workshop wall. He tunes it by ear, alone, slowly, to its own body, because an original instrument has its own resonance, and forcing it to standard tension can crack what makes it singular. The old makers had a saying about this: the chart serves the copy, the ear serves the original. Keep that in your pocket. In a little while it is going to matter more than you can currently guess. And if this message has been serving your original, quietly join the family of chosen ones who walk this same unmapped road, thousands of them across the world, each one a first edition in their own line. There is a strange comfort in that. Originals do not fit together like puzzle pieces, but they recognize each other instantly. Now, the third revelation, and this one goes into your bloodline, because there is a grief underneath the pioneer life that almost nobody names out loud, and I am going to name it. You are, in all likelihood, the first in your family line to walk this particular road, first to believe at this depth, or first to build at this scale, or first to break the cycle that every generation before you simply survived. And being first in a family produces a very specific double wound: loneliness, because no one at the table understands the terrain you walk, and guilt, the quiet, absurd, persistent guilt of going further than the people who raised you, as if your ascent were somehow a judgment on their altitude. Some of you have shrunk your own calling for years to avoid that feeling. You call it humility. It is not humility. It is grief wearing a virtue costume. Here is what is actually true about your position, and it undoes both wounds at once. The generations before you were not failures whom you are embarrassing. They were stages of a relay you are completing. Your grandmother prayed prayers she did not live to see answered. Do you think those prayers expired? Delayed petitions do not evaporate. They accumulate. You learned that law tonight already. Your parents pushed the line forward the distance. They could push it with the strength and the light they had, and their unfinished distance was not defeat, it was handoff. Every generation carried the baton through their own stretch of weather, and every one of them, knowingly or not, was running toward a point where all of it converges on a single runner, positioned to finish the stretch none of them could reach. Look at the evidence of convergence you have been carrying your whole life without decoding it. The unexplainable pull toward things no one in your family ever touched. Books, rooms, questions, disciplines that had no source in your upbringing. Where did you think that appetite came from? Inheritance is not only wounds. The hunger of your grandmother for a freedom she could not name did not die with her. It went downstream. The gift your father never got to open did not evaporate. It went downstream. You are not only carrying assignments forward, you are carrying accumulated appetite, generations of unspent longing, and that is why your pull is so absurdly strong compared to your circumstances. It was never just your hunger. It is compound hunger. We call this the convergence point. And the convergence point is not a place. It is a person. It has been assembling for generations, and it answers to your name. Let me make this so concrete it becomes unforgettable. Picture one scene from your own line, real or reconstructed from the stories you inherited. A kitchen, long before you were born. A woman with worn hands and a covered pot, praying half out loud in the old language while the house sleeps. Praying for children not yet conceived, for a deliverance she could not spell, for someone downstream of her blood to be free in ways she could not imagine from inside her circumstances. She had no vocabulary for what you are living, but you are inside her sentence. You are the clause she could not finish. When the pull on your life will not die, no matter how you bury it, understand what you are actually feeling. It is not just calling, it is compound interest. So look at the guilt one final time and watch it dissolve in the light. You going further than your family is not betrayal of your family, it is the yield on everything they planted. The first generation to cross is the harvest of every generation that marched. Your grandmother in glory is not wounded by your altitude. She is part of the reason for it. And if the veil parted for 1 second, you would not hear accusation from that side. You would hear the loudest cheering of your entire life. And the key for this revelation is an act of honor, and I want you to actually do it. Sometime this week, take a quiet hour and write the relay down. Name the generations as far back as you know them. Beside each name, write what they carried and how far they got. The woman who kept faith alive through a war. The man who worked in humiliation so his children would not have to. The mother who prayed in a language of tears you only understood decades later. Then, at the bottom, write your own name, and beside it, write the words, "The baton is in my hand." You will be doing more than journaling. You will be consciously receiving what has been converging toward you your whole life. And things received consciously behave differently from things merely inherited. And before the last witness takes the stand, one practical word about how firsts must treat their own history, because this matters this week, not someday. Stop demanding that your past makes sense by reprint standards. The resume with the strange gaps, the seasons that do not connect, the detours that embarrassed you at dinner tables, none of that was drift. Original manufacturing does not look like assembly lines. It looks like a workshop. Pieces everywhere, long pauses, tools nobody recognizes. The reprint reads your file and sees chaos. The maker reads the same file and sees custom work. From tonight, when your history is questioned, including by you, answer from the workshop, not from the assembly line. You have been listening a long time now, deep into this message, and that is not casual. Most people cannot sit this long inside a word that reads them this closely. You are still here because this is yours. So let me bring in the last witness before everything converges. A man whose entire account exists to prove that God does in fact do things that have never been done before, and that he does them through single, specific, prepared individuals. His name was Noah. And I need you to strip the nursery paint off this story and see it as it happened. God announced a coming event that had no precedent in living memory. By the oldest accounts, the world had never even seen the mechanism it would arrive through. And then, to carry the unprecedented, God did not recruit a committee or wait for consensus. He selected one man and handed him an assignment with no earlier edition. Build a structure no one had ever built, for conditions no one had ever seen, on a timeline no one else believed in. Feel what those years must have been. The measuring, the cutting, the pitch and the timber, decade after decade, while every template follower in the region had a professional opinion about the madman and his project. He had no map, no mentor, no testimony of anyone who had done it before. All he had was the specification given to him and the daily choice to keep building an original in public. And then, one morning, the sky did something the sky had never done. But what happened in the final week before that morning, the detail almost everyone skips, is the exact piece you need for your own assignment. and I am going to hold it just out of your hands for a few more minutes, because it lands completely only after you see what the impossible actually is. One more honest line before that seal comes off, because you deserve honesty from any voice this deep in your spirit. I cannot tell you the date the sky changes for you, and I will not pretend to. No true messenger sells calendars. What I can tell you is what the pattern has always been, and the pattern is this. The unprecedented never announces itself to the crowd in advance. It prepares one person in obscurity, lets the preparation look like foolishness, and then vindicates decades in a day. If your years of building without applause have felt like evidence against you, the pattern says the opposite. The pattern says you are on schedule for something that has no schedule to compare itself to. Because here is where I stop you at the summit ridge of this message, the halfway line, and tell you plainly, everything to this point has cleared the ground. The defect arithmetic is dead. The template is named. The bloodline guilt is dissolving. But there is a question I have deliberately left sealed. What is the impossible thing itself? You have been assuming it is one of the items on your list. The provision, the person, the platform, the restoration of what was lost. What if the actual thing God has never done before is not on your list at all? What if it is bigger than the list, and the list is only the shadow it casts as it approaches? That seal comes off next. Stay exactly where you are. So here is the detail from the final week that everyone skips. After all those decades of building with no precedent, the record shows two staggering things. The creatures Noah needed did not have to be hunted down and captured by an old man. When the structure was finished, they came to him. And when the moment arrived, the account is careful to say that Noah did not seal the door of his own ark. God shut him in. Read those two lines until they rearrange you. While the original was unfinished, heaven asked one thing of Noah: build. The gathering was not his job. The timing was not his job. The sealing was not his job. The moment the instrument was ready, everything the assignment required moved toward it on its own feet, and the door closed by a hand that was not his. That is how firsts work. Provision does not chase blueprints. It arrives at completed originals. Now the seal comes off the question, because you are ready for it. What is the impossible thing God has never done before? It is not the money. Money has been given to millions. It is not the platform, or the restoration, or even the miracle you have named in prayer. All of those have precedence, stretching back forever. Here it is, plainly. The thing God has never done before is you, completed. The first edition, finished, tuned, and released into history. There has never been one of you. There will never be another. And every item on your list, the provision, the doors, the influence, all of it is simply what reality looks like, rearranging itself around a first edition that finally went to print. You have been praying for the shadow. Heaven has been preparing the object that casts it. The old languages knew this distinction, and we lost it in translation. Greek has two words for new: neos, which means new in time, the latest copy of an existing thing, this year model of last year car, and kainos, which means new in kind, unprecedented, a category entering existence for the first time. When scripture says, "Behold, I make all things new," the word is kainos. Not the newest reprint, a new kind. When heaven speaks over your life, it is not promising you a fresher copy of an existing life. It is speaking kainos over you, and kainos is the exact word for what your season is gestating. But now I owe you the hardest and most important revelation of the night, because there is one thing standing between a finished first edition and its printing, and it is not your circumstances, and it is not the devil, and it is not the calendar. Come close, because this is the one you will carry out of here. Here is the symptom. At painful resolution. Even tonight, even inside this message, you have felt it. Your mind heard a sentence that was meant for you and slid off it to a worry, then to a memory, then to a task, and you had to drag it back by the collar. You sit down to hear the deep instruction, the original one under all the noise, and a fog rolls across the exact place you are trying to listen from. Your best ideas arrive in fragments and dissolve before you can hold them. And the voice of your own original, the one this entire message has been calling up out of you, sounds muffled, as if it is speaking through a wall from the next room. You have blamed your age, your schedule, your character. It is none of those. Hear the actual mechanism, because it is the last lock on the door. An unprecedented assignment cannot be transmitted through a standardized instrument. The templates you spent your life running could tolerate a dimmed, scattered, half-tuned mind, because templates only require compliance. But an original composition requires the original instrument at original tension, hearing at original depth. And here is what the research settings I mentioned earlier confirmed. The instrument you were issued at birth actually was original grade. In early childhood, the mind operates in a state of full presence and full reception that the best minds of every generation spent their lives trying to get back to. Nearly every child has it. Almost no adult keeps it. Not because adults sin their way out of it, but because the modern environment, the noise, the screens, the standardization, the decades of template living itself, slowly pulls the instrument out of its designed tuning. We call this the original instrument. The first edition in you was never destroyed. It has been trying to play through a detuned instrument, and you have been mistaking the detuning for your identity. Now let this rewrite what it needs to rewrite. All those years you called yourself scattered, shallow, unable to focus, unable to hear God the way you did in childhood. That was never the original in you degrading. The plate never rusted. The tension changed. And everything you managed to build anyway, every act of faith performed through the fog, every mile run with the instrument out of tune, heaven watched all of it and counted it double. But you were not designed to finish this assignment out of tune, and you do not have to. Which closes the loop I opened near the beginning of this message. I asked you, what if the reason the unprecedented thing has not started is the tuning of the instrument it must be played on? And what if that tuning was altered years before you could object? You now hold the entire shape of that question, the design original, the detuning slow, environmental, unchosen, the assignment waiting, like a finished score on a stand, for the solo instrument to come back to pitch. A solution only matters to the person who understands the problem it solves, and now you understand it completely. So, it is time. But first, the honest question that is already forming in you. Why has knowing never been enough? You have had insights before. You have wept at messages before, taken notes before, felt certain before, and watched the certainty evaporate by Thursday. It is because insight is content, and the problem was never content. The problem is the instrument that has to hold the content. New software does not repair a hardware issue. That is where we go now, and we go in plain words. Let me stack the whole message in order. No imagery for 90 seconds. Here is what you know now that you did not know an hour ago. The formulas failed you because you are an original, and formulas encode the lives of their makers. Your energy has been drained for decades by template living, the impersonation of copies, and what you called self-sabotage was the original refusing the costume. Your position in your family line is not betrayal, it is convergence. Generations of unfinished prayers accumulating toward your name. The impossible thing itself is you completed, and provision arrives at completed originals, the way the animals arrived at the finished ark. And the last lock is physical, a detuned instrument, a mind pulled off its childhood pitch by the modern world. Here is what you do with it. You interrogate one failed formula this week for what it reveals about your design. You name and drop one template. You write the relay of your bloodline and receive the baton on paper. And you treat the retuning of your mind as the practical priority it has now become. Here is who this makes you. Not a defective copy racing to catch up. The first edition at the convergence point, one tuning away from print. If that's stacked clean in your chest, then claim your category in the record. Type "I claim the first" in the comments, because claiming is the register of this moment, and files change behavior when their names change. You have lived as the muffled version. That is who you have been. It is not who you are required to remain. The score is finished, and the conductor is standing. The only open question is the instrument. There is a study that received the Nobel Prize in 1981, not from a seminary, from a research laboratory. Dr. Roger Sperry spent years examining how the two hemispheres of the human mind communicate, and his split-brain research established something that rearranged neuroscience. The mind is engineered as two halves designed to operate in synchronization, and when they do, the state that emerges is the one every genius account describes. Whole ideas arriving intact, effortless focus, time going deep instead of fast. The follow-up findings are the ones that should stop your breath. Measured against that state, nearly all young children operate at what researchers classify as creative genius level. Fewer than one adult in 1,000 still does. The instrument does not break with age. It desynchronizes with exposure, and modern life is the exposure. A neurologist in New York named Dr. Daniel Barone took that research line seriously enough to do something about it. But before I tell you what his team built, hear two women who walked through this door. One from California described her old life as happening to her rather than with her. Years of sincere practice, prayer, journaling, every method her community offered, and always the same glass wall. Truths she believed but could not feel. About 10 days in, she said, a channel that had been blocked her entire adult life simply opened, and presence stopped being a doctrine and became a texture in her ordinary days. The other, a woman in Manhattan, carried a heavier file, a family that spoke of bad luck the way other families speak of heirlooms, a father who gave 22 years to a company that collapsed the week of his promotion, a pattern repeating down the generations like a signature. She was the one in her line who decided the pattern had a mechanism. Afterward, she described it in one sentence that belongs in this message. What I had called a family curse turned out to have an address, and the address was not in the spirit realm. It was in the receiver. Romance returned, the work turned, and the pattern that had held for 3 generations did not survive her. That is what a convergence point looks like when the instrument comes back online, and it is exactly what the team led by Dr. Barone spent years learning to restore. They took over an hour of clinical-grade neural sync technology, the kind used in specialized settings to guide the two hemispheres back into designed synchronization, and refined it down to an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. 8 minutes a day. Headphones on, eyes closed, nothing to perform, nothing to master. They call it the genius switch. Be clear about what it is not, especially if you have tried things before. It is not another ambient sound file like the thousands scattered across the internet. And if those did nothing for you, that is the exact point. Loose audio addresses a fraction of the picture. It is not a meditation practice with a learning curve. It is whole brain activation built on the Sperry research line, aimed at one specific outcome, returning the instrument to the tuning it had when you were a child, before the world standardized it. The genius switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one who heard the words, "original instrument tonight," and felt something in their chest stand up. For the first in a family line who understands now that finishing the relay requires the runner to be restored. If your road already has a working map and a working mind, release this in peace. But if you are the one the templates failed, this was assembled with you in mind. When colleagues of Dr. Barone examined what the team built, they said it would hold value at $500, and the arithmetic behind that is public. Clinical neurofeedback runs around $300 per session, and home systems cost thousands. It was released at $49. Today, through the page connected to this message, it is $39, and they include 4 gifts at no cost. A guided visualization from a top-rated creator on a leading calm and focus platform, a grocery guide naming common foods that feed mental fog, along with shortcuts that save real money monthly, a manifestation classic more than 100 years old, and a printable design of the 5 habits that build an ideal future. All of it stands on an unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Listen once or listen 80 times, and if it does not do for you what it has done for more than 18,000 people, every dollar returns, no conditions. If your first honest reaction is that you have tried things in this category before and been disappointed, keep that caution. It has served you. And hear the difference plainly one more time. The things that disappointed you were almost certainly loose recordings addressing a sliver of the picture, and your instrument noticed the difference even if the labels did not. This is a different mechanism with a different lineage, and more importantly, the entire risk of testing that claim has been moved off your shoulders and onto theirs, which is where claims belong. And if your second reaction is that there is no room in your days for one more practice, look at the actual arithmetic. 8 minutes, eyes closed, while the coffee brews or the house sleeps. You have spent more than that tonight, deciding what to watch. If 8 minutes cannot be found for the instrument the whole assignment plays through, the shortage was never time. There is one more reason this matters beyond you, and it deserves saying in a message about bloodlines. The researchers who study synchronized minds keep circling a finding the old scriptures stated flatly: a restored person changes the atmosphere of a household. Calm is contagious at close range. Clarity is inherited by watching. The people under your roof and downstream of your decisions will receive whatever state you operate from, fog or pitch. You learn tonight that you are the convergence point of everything upstream. Remember that you are also the headwaters of everything downstream, and headwaters decide what the river carries. And hear the cost of waiting, spoken gently, because it belongs to this revelation. Every season the instrument stays detuned is a season the finished score sits unplayed on the stand, not because heaven withdrew it, but because reception depth decides arrival depth. You learned that law tonight. The convergence point has waited generations. It should not have to wait on tuning. One caution you have earned: if you search the open platforms for names that sound similar, you will find imitations. His team studied them, and most carried no neural sync technology at all, only a label. The mechanism is the entire difference, and it exists in one place. The verified page is linked in the description below and in the pinned comment, nowhere else, and everything is laid out there in the open for you to read before deciding anything. If your spirit resonates, that is the door. And let this be said cleanly: the tool does not replace God. It cannot obey for you, love for you, or finish the relay for you. What he is composing through your line was never conditional on any instrument made by hands, but a retuned receiver gives the composition room to land at the depth it was written in. Now, back to the deeper current, because the printing of a first edition deserves a proper sealing. And for the first edition who felt something stand up when the instrument was described a few minutes ago, that door remains open in the description below. A small step, taken in your own name for once, not in a template. But small steps taken by originals are how unprecedented things enter history. Now let me show you what the printing actually looks like, because you have earned the sight of it. and because a first edition should recognize its own release date when it begins. It is an ordinary morning, some months from now. You wake before the alarm and notice the absence first. The static is gone, the channel is clear, and in that clarity, the thought that arrives while the kettle heats is not a fragment. It comes whole, with its own architecture, the way ideas came when you were 9 years old and the world was still loud with wonder. But here is the difference. From every insight you have ever lost, you can hold it now. The instrument keeps the pitch. And somewhere in the middle of that ordinary morning you realize, with a jolt that feels like waking twice, that you did not copy this thought from anyone. It has no precedent. It is the first bar of the composition, and it is unmistakably in your key. And notice what happens to the old ache in that same season, the one that used to flare every time you watched someone else run their map to a result. It simply is not there anymore. Not suppressed, absent, because envy is only possible between comparables, and you have stopped filing yourself among the comparables. You can honor the reprints now, genuinely celebrate their 10 steps and their timelines, the way a lighthouse can admire a fleet without wishing it were a boat. That release alone, the end of a lifetime of measuring yourself with borrowed rulers, would be worth this entire night. And it is only the side effect. Then watch the convergence begin to pay out. The work that comes from an original mind carries a signature that cannot be faked, and rooms respond to it differently, not because you got louder, but because unprecedented things are magnetic. In a way, improved copies never are. Doors you battered for years swing at a touch, and you understand why. Provision was never chasing your effort. It was waiting on your completion, the way the animals waited on the final beam of the ark. People begin arriving too, the collaborators, the ones assigned to the finished version of you, and they find you without being hunted, and some of them will say some form of the same sentence. I do not know why, but I felt like I was supposed to talk to you. You will know why. And see the deepest window of all, the one your bloodline has been pressing toward for 100 years. A day comes, further down this road, when someone young in your line or under your influence stands in a doorway you built and walks through it without even slowing down, utterly unaware that it used to be a wall. They will inherit as furniture what cost you everything, and that is precisely the victory. The relay ends the way relays are supposed to end, with the next runners not needing one. Somewhere beyond the veil, a woman with worn hands and a covered pot sees the clause of her sentence finally finished, and the finishing word was your life. Hold that image. On the hard days between here and there, it will hold you back. One more scene, because it is the one you will doubt the most, and I want it prepaid. There will come a day, in the middle of the unprecedented season, when the old voice returns, probably on a Tuesday, probably when you are tired, and it will whisper the oldest line in its script. Who do you think you are? And here is what will be different. You will not argue with it, because arguments are for uncertain people. You will simply look at the evidence around you, the composition already sounding, the doors already open, the line already free, and you will answer with the calm of a person reading a fact. I am the first of my kind. That is who. And the voice will have nowhere to put that, because accusation was engineered for copies afraid of being exposed. And there is no exposure that threatens an original standing in its own name. Now, stay close, because in a few moments, I am going to speak a commissioning over you, the kind of words that are spoken over firsts, and then we are going to seal this entire word shut, so the weak cannot talk you out of it. Do not leave before the sealing. Unprecedented things, of all things, must not go out unsealed. But first, the tuning itself, and I mean this as practice, not as metaphor. Sit the way an instrument sits in the hands of its maker. Spine long but not rigid, hands open, eyes closed if it is safe. Now build the image, slowly. You are in a workshop at evening, wood shavings and amber light, and the master luthier is holding an instrument that took generations to build, yours. Watch the hands work the pegs, patient, unhurried, listening after every small turn. Hear the note bend slowly toward true, and as it reaches pitch, one clean tone fills the workshop, and something in your own chest resonates at the same moment, an actual physical loosening behind the sternum, a breath that drops one level deeper than it has gone in months. Stay there for 3 slow breaths, then say inwardly, with the tone still ringing, I was never broken. I was out of tune. Say it again, slower. I was never broken. I was out of tune. That resonance in your chest is your anchor now. Any day the fog tries to rename you, sit, breathe, and return to the workshop. The body remembers what the mind forgets. Now, the ceiling. Father, we do not leave this hour the way we entered it, and we both know it. Thank you, not first for what is coming, but for the craftsmanship of the delay, for every formula that failed us into originality, for every map that ran out where our coastline began, for every generation that carried the baton through weather. We will never fully know. We were told we were behind. We were being built without precedent. We see it now, and we will not unsee it. And now, chosen one, the releasing breath, because a first edition goes to print with empty margins. Breathe in slowly, and as you do, gather it all. The defect arithmetic, the borrowed maps, the impersonations, the first generation guilt. Every year you spent apologizing for being unrepeatable. Hold it 1 second. At the top. Now breathe it out, long and complete, all of it, out of the lungs, out of the record, out of the assignment. Again, one more breath like that, and notice how the chest feels wider on the second exhale. That width is not imagination. That is the space the costume used to occupy. Now stand up on the inside, because this is a commissioning, and commissionings are received at full height. You are the first edition, unrepeated and unrepeatable, and the mold that could reproduce you was never made. You are the convergence point, the living answer to prayers prayed in languages you never learned, and the baton is in your hand. You are the original instrument, returning to pitch, and the composition written before your birth is about to be played for the first time in history. Not behind, unprecedented, not a copy that failed, an original that survived. Not the end of a struggling line, the beginning of a free one. If you just received that commissioning as your own, then sign it where the record can see. Type I am the first edition in the comments, the whole phrase, as a declaration, because firsts are printed with their names on the plate. Amen. Sealed, over your name, over your line, over the composition, until the first bar sounds. Stay one more moment in the quiet before you move, because something is settling, and I will not let you shake it loose by hurrying. Some of you feel heat across the chest or the palms right now. Some of you feel that specific stillness that follows a long overdue cry, though no tears came. Some of you feel nothing dramatic, only a strange internal order, like furniture moved back to where it always belonged, while your eyes were closed. All 3 are valid receipts. Heaven does not issue identical ones. What matters is what was transacted. The defect file was closed tonight. The costume came off tonight. The baton changed hands tonight. Walk gently with yourself for the rest of the evening. Newly printed editions should be handled with care in the first hours. 2 small assignments before you go, and neither one is for you. Somewhere in your world, there is another original wearing a costume, someone whose formulas keep failing, whose mentors ran out of map, who is quietly concluding at midnight that they are defective. You know exactly whose face just surfaced. Send them this message tonight with nothing but the words, "This sounded like you." You may be handing a first edition its own file name, and if this word carried you all the way here, gently press the like, not as applause, but because it tells the machinery of this platform to carry the same water to the next unmapped coastline it can find. And one last thing, remember where we began tonight. A ceiling, a question asked 100 times after midnight. Why does it work for everyone else and not for me? You now know the answer, and the answer was never the one you feared. It works for them because they are running maps that match their terrain. It has not worked for you because heaven does not issue maps for coastline. No one has sailed. It issues coordinates and it builds a navigator. You came into this message convinced you were the defect in every formula. You are leaving as the reason the formula was never going to be enough. The impossible God is doing has a face, and tonight you saw it in the mirror of this word. So, do the small things this week. Interrogate one failed formula for what it says about your design. Drop one template, just one, and watch what the original does with the reclaimed power. Write the relay of your bloodline and put the baton consciously in your own hand. Guard the tuning of the instrument like the assignment depends on it, because it does. And when the first bar of the unprecedented thing sounds in your life, and it will sound, remember this night, and remember that you heard it named before you heard it played. Go in peace, First Edition. History has room it has been holding for something it has never seen. It is done.